So when you first come to Serenity, you will press this buzzer and then you will come through this door and then we'll bring you into this individual waiting room. So whilst you're waiting in the waiting room, you'll have a crisis worker that will come in and explain everything to you. So they will go through what an exam will look like, go through your options. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. You can choose to do parts of the exam, you can choose not to do parts of the exam. So it's completely up to you, you're in control of the whole process. So they will also be able to answer any questions or concerns you might have regarding healthcare needs, and they will also ensure that this is what you want to do, take your initial consent, and will then speak to the doctor. Now, everything that you say to a crisis worker is confidential, unless we're concerned about anything to do with safeguarding. So after you've spoken to the crisis worker, they will then direct you to the clinical room where you will meet the doctor and speak to them. So part of the assessment, it's just the talking that happens here, which can take a little while depending on what's happened. In this room, you can have a supporter in with you, so a family or a friend, and the crisis worker can also be in here with you too. So when you come in here and speak to the doctor, they will go through a consent form with you so that you're aware of what's going to happen and what your options are. You don't have to consent to everything and you can withdraw your consent at any point. So the doctor will go through what's happened to you, and that might feel a bit uncomfortable, but we'll support you throughout the whole process. Some questions about your general health that we need to know, so any allergies, medication that you're on, etc. And then kind of anything else that you feel we need to know. So after you finished speaking to the doctor in the clinical room, the crisis worker will then bring you into this waiting area. As you're waiting here, the crisis worker and the doctor will go off and put their PPE on, and when they're ready, they will come and let you in through this door. So you're not going to be in here for more than 5 or 10 minutes. This is where you will have your physical examination. So it sounds scarier than it is. So it's just for us to identify any injuries that you might have. So this is where you will be prescribed any medication that you might need, for example, emergency contraception, hepatitis B injection, or if you need HIV PEP. Based on what's happened, we can then collect any possible DNA evidence for the police investigation, or if you've come as a self-referral, we will then store everything that we've collected in our freezers for up to 2 years. After the forensic exam is completed, the crisis worker will then bring you back into this waiting room and they will go through onward referrals. So any services that we can signpost you to, for example, the crisis team, the mental health team, etc. And also our ISVA support. So they will speak to you about our independent sexual violence advisor and how they can work with you to support you throughout this whole process. So if you're a self-referral, we will then kind of go through what your options are at the time, and also remind you of the retention period for your swabs. And if you have agreed to an ISVA, they will then contact you within 2 working days. If you've come with the police, the crisis worker will then hand you back to the police officer, and they will usually come and speak to you to tell you about what the next steps are. Similarly, they will go through any referrals that we need to make, and also what the ISVA support can look like and whether you would like a referral to it or not. Serenity will support anyone who's been raped or sexually assaulted. They just need to call us and we will advise them on how we best can support them.